What's up? It's your girl, Constance Carter, and welcome to Fly Nubian Money. Listen, we are going to tackle a topic that's literally life or death for so many of us. Did you know that stress might be killing you slowly? It's not just about what you eat or how much you exercise. There are some critical factors that we often overlook. So, today we are diving into ways to live a more peaceful life that go well beyond diet and exercise. We're gonna talk about quality sleep. We're gonna talk about managing your chronic stress, and we are gonna talk about finding alignment with your purpose. This is not just about being healthy. It's absolutely about survival. So before we go into the video that this is based upon, I want to introduce you to my queens, my sisters. We got Dr. Alicia, who is a professor of social work and psychotherapy, Miss Moya Smith, who is a tax professional, and we have Athena Gardner, baby. She is a CPA and wealth coach. Now, ladies, I am so excited about digging into this because this is something that us as women, Black women, people, Americans, everybody deals with stress in one way or another. But I want to talk about how we can eliminate the stress because it is a killer. So let's run that video.
So this question leads to Lisa. Lisa, what are the lifestyle changes that need to be addressed to prevent and combat chronic disease?
Yes, thank you so much for asking the question. This is really important because I think when most of us are trying to get healthy, we do the two things we know, which is diet and exercise, right? And those are the low-hanging fruits, and you absolutely should, right? So let's knock those out of the way. A whole food plant-based diet, no doubt about it, will excel your ability to combat chronic lifestyle disease or prevent them. We should be doing high-intensity interval training. I too, Brandy, started as a personal trainer, right? So it's so important. Movement is so important. Let's not underestimate the movement. However, health does not begin and end in the kitchen and the gym. It is essential that we do 3 additional things. I'm gonna be on my 3s tonight. So y'all ready for the first 3? Okay, so my note takers, tap your neighbor. So the first one is sleep hygiene. We have to get high quality sleep. It's not just getting to sleep, but it's staying to sleep. Okay, front row behavior. It's not just staying asleep, but it's making sure you are sleeping well, going into all those stages of sleep. A lot of magic happens metabolically when we sleep. The second thing that we absolutely must prioritize, lean in, Black women, we have to eliminate chronic stress. I did not say manage it. I said eliminate it. Okay? Self-care, vacations, meditation, journaling, that's all management. We have to do the harder work of creating an exit strategy. Okay? Acute stress, normal. Life is going to life. Chronic stress kills us slowly. It's not an option. So we have to eliminate chronic stress because those elevated levels of cortisol and adrenaline are going to compromise the body. The final thing that we absolutely must focus on when it comes to health outside of diet and exercise is purpose. In Japan, it's called ikigai. It means a reason for being. If you are not optimizing your gifts and your talents and having fulfillment in your life and leaving the world a better place than what you found it, that too will kill you slowly. Purpose heals. So find the thing that God has called you to do and lean into it.
Those are bars. And, in this country, we are taught that exercise, that diet is what is actually the thing that'll kill you, right? If you're just sitting here eating processed food, you're a couch potato, you're not getting any movement, that's the thing that's going to kill you. We got to get up, we got to move around. And it's true, but stress supersedes diet and exercise. So let me ask you a question, Moya. What was your thought when you listened to that? The fact that stress is a much higher killer than diet and exercise.
Well, Queen Constance, I have to tell you that it was bars for real. It was so many things. One of the things that I wrote down is when she said, focus on your purpose and optimizing your gifts and talents, and the fact that purpose heals. Wow, that was so deep, so moving, and it becomes so challenging because as a woman, we have to constantly be thinking about what do I have to do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when do you have time to think about your purpose? We think of that as the ultimate luxury. So I thought that that was amazing when she said that.
I'm so glad that you said that, Moya, because I just think about my life, right? And so I was going through one of the most stressful times in my life, going through a divorce a couple of years ago. And I know that after it was all said and done, and it was super stressful, but after it was all said and done, when I look back at it and I think, damn, you went through some stuff. It was crazy. And I remember my daughter was like, Mom, you didn't fight. You didn't fight. You should have fought more. And I was like, but I can, it's just money. It's just material. I can get it all back. But I couldn't stay in that stressful place, because if I stayed in the dark, then I couldn't do my light work. Right? I couldn't do my purpose work. And I'm so focused on the purpose work that sitting here fighting over material, it would have taken me out of my purpose, because that's what I need to survive, is that purpose. That's what fills me. And so that I know that other stuff is death. Purpose is life. And man, if you can figure out what your purpose is and you can walk in your purpose, you're going to live a long time. So Athena, what was your thought when you seen about the stress being a bigger factor than diet and exercise?
I was glad that she was able to express this. And I think that is something that, especially as Black women, we need to be more mindful of. But it's very hard because of all of the issues that we're facing as women in comparison to other women groups. I have always, I coach women on wealth and lifestyle and things like that. I have always embraced us knowing that we deserve rest, knowing that we need to put ourselves first. I feel like a lot of us take on the position of having to hold up our family and communities. And sometimes you just have to let all of that go and let them figure it out. I remember last year, Constance, you did a talk at ABC, and before you went on, I was saying like how I manage even my brothers and my dad, because these same men will say, I want a feminine woman, I want a soft woman, I want this, and then give you all these things to do. And what I do with my brothers and my dad, when they try to put too much on me, I say I'm a woman. I remind them that I'm not supposed to be working this much. I'm not supposed to be doing all this hard. I'm not a man, especially because I have 4 brothers and my dad. So they forget sometimes. So you have to remind them. But I feel like women just need to advocate for themselves.
That's true. We carry the weight of the world on our shoulders, and we make it look easy. We make it look good. We balance it all. We're everything to everybody. Y'all, last week, I just took my middle son to college, dropped him off at college. That was great. Loved it. Had a great time. As soon as I finish here, my son and my daughter are going to get a U-Haul. I got to drop off my other son at college. My other son's getting ready to start high school or 11th grade. I have to do all of these things all the time. And today I was just thinking, man, this right here reminds me of me not having no man. The other day, y'all, I was in my RV that I got stuck with, and I had a drill, and I was under the hood, and my daughter was like, Mom, you are the strongest person. Like, how are you? And I was under the hood fixing stuff, and I had to make it work, because I have to be everything to everybody and it's like things get thrown at you, and you can't crumble under pressure. Us as women, we can't crumble under pressure. So Dr. Alicia, what does it look like for women, and how can we manage that stress? Like, what I love what Athena said about just kind of letting go and advocating for ourselves. But what are your thoughts around just trying to manage being everything to everybody?
Yeah, I mean, it's a reality that Black women in particular, they carry the emotional load of everybody in the family, and that can be overwhelming. And sometimes I think with Black women, we just overextend ourselves to people, and we need to stop doing that. I think every night before you go to bed, you need to ask yourself, where in your life did you want to say no to something, but you did anyway? Like, where is it in your life that you felt that you could not say no to someone, even though deep down inside you really felt you needed to say no? And the thing is that you are not. And when you look at those instances, you also need to ask yourself, why did I agree to this? Why did I not say no? And it could be a different variety of different reasons. Maybe you feel like you're responsible for other people's problems. Maybe you feel like you're responsible for other people's happiness. And the reality is that you're not responsible for other people's realities and other people's problems. And you're taking all of these and absorbing all of these. And I don't think it sets really good boundaries to yourself. Sometimes we get messages that we have to overextend ourselves to people. And if we don't, then we won't be loved. Then you have to compromise yourself and your mental health in order for people to accept you and to love you. And it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be contingent on that. But you need to think about, where did I get these messages? And a lot of times you get those messages growing up. You saw your own mama do it growing up, overextending yourselves. And what happens is the consequence of that is the stress, the not being able to sleep, not living your true purpose because you're giving yourself to everybody and you're not having the proper boundaries with yourself.
See, and I'm a people pleaser in that way. And so I'll take on things just being a people pleaser, like you said. But also there are things that I just can't help it because I'm the mother of 4 children. I'm now single. Like, these are things that I didn't choose. I got married. I was married for 24 years. So for me, it's like, I love what you said, like at night, just that releasing, because for the people who don't have a choice, Dr. Alicia, I got to show up. I don't have no choice. It's just me, baby.
You got to ask for help, because if you don't,
Ooh,
what happens? You got to ask for help. You can't do it on your own, because
you don't help me, boo.
You have to seek out. You need to make it a priority to seek these out. Seek out help, because what happens is that your immune system is going to pay the price. Your health is going to pay the price. And if you have a health issue, you're going to be no good to anybody in that way.
That's true.
I mean, you have to stop this loop from going. Your immune system is damaged. When you suppress how you feel, you are also suppressing your immune system.
Ooh, that's a bar. When you suppress how you feel,
yes,
you're also suppressing your immune system.
That's a fact.
Yes, and I would also throw in there 80% of all autoimmune diseases are carried by women. 80% of them.
80%. Look at Athena coming with the facts, with the stats. I love that. So let me ask you in the chat, you all, what are your thoughts around stress being the number one factor, the number one killer? And then how do you personally manage your stress? Because I think that's something that we all need to really try to figure out, is how to best manage the stress. Because I think because people are dying, people are getting cancer, people are getting diseases, their immune systems are decreasing. People are always walking around sick and having colds and having the flu because of stress. You just said what'd you say? What was the bar? When you suppress, when you don't say, what'd you say?
Here's the thing. You will never meet anybody with an autoimmune disease that did not have significant trauma in their lives.
Wow, really?
Yes.
You will never meet anyone with an autoimmune. So like lupus.
Yes.
So like multiple sclerosis.
Yes.
Multiple sclerosis.
Yes.
Diabetes.
Yes. All of those diseases, they have some significant trauma in their lives. And once you explore this, you will find a lifelong history of suppression of emotions.
Oh, wow. Okay, so let me ask you a question then. Moya, I'm going to shift to you. How do you think about the factors like sleep, stress, and purpose when you're considering your own health?
I think
do you get the sleep? Do you are you very cognizant and intentional about your purpose? Like, how do you manage that part?
That's really important. I do want to piggyback off what Athena and Dr. Alicia were saying in terms of, like, I don't know if you've heard of her, but April Mason, she does this whole femininity, right? So one of the things that she always says, and I had a very difficult time understanding and grasping, was she said she doesn't want to be identified as a queen. She'd much rather be identified as a princess. She said, because men come and save the princess, but they never come and save the queen, because the queen is so strong and she's second in command to the king. And so I never really understood it, but I guess when you think of what Athena was saying in terms of saying, hey, I'm a woman, I'm not here to be worked and do all these things. I'm someone that needs to be assisted to as well. Oh,
Yeah.
I like this picture.
Yeah. See, it says the number one silent killer for Black women that's being ignored. So Black women dealing with trauma and suffering. She said there is no autoimmune system that hasn't come without some type of trauma. That's amazing. You know, societal issues. Can you put that back up? Societal issues. What else was it? Us being strong. You know,
Yeah.
everybody says we're so strong, and sometimes we don't want to be strong. Sometimes I don't want to be the man. I don't want to be him. I want to operate in my femininity. And I think if you have people playing their parts and in their roles and operating, you know, in your masculine energy, I can operate in my feminine energy, and we can kind of be almost balanced, right? Or at least harmonious when we talked about last week. But so what about you, Athena, for you when it comes to the idea of getting enough sleep and purpose with your own level of stress management? Are you able to do that fully?
Of course. Listen, I'm living my goddess life.
I love it.
Get at least 6
You know
to 8
what?
hours.
Because you ain't got no man to stress you the hell out. That's why you're able to just be.
Listen, when I date men, if I feel like my anxiety is going up or if I'm having like a nervous system response, I end it. Like, you're not about to come stress out the situation over here. But what I do, and this is a thing that I want, especially the ladies in the chat watching us today, to think about. I remember when sometimes I get stressed out, or when I was going through periods of stress, which do happen in my life. And I get to a point where I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to let it fall apart. Why is it so hard for us just to let things fall apart?
I can't do that.
Why is it so hard? Or even if not fall apart, I'm like, okay, do I need to do this? Or could I ask somebody to do this? And I might
Y'all
not
gonna have to pray
asking
for
someone,
me.
or am I not asking someone to do this because I don't want to be vulnerable enough to ask? For example, I'm in my other room, and I remember I had to paint it, and I said, you know what? I have a lot of things going on. I'm not painting this room. Hi, brother. Can you come over and paint this wall for me, please? Thank you. Tyre had an issue. Hi, brother. Hi, dad. Hi, XYZ person who can help me do this thing right now. Or if I like to cook. Don't tell a man that, because then they want you to cook all the time. But I like to cook. And the days where I have the energy, I go grocery shopping. I like to pick up my stuff. The days I don't have energy, I have Instacart. The days I don't have, I have Petco, DoorDash, drop off the things. Like, I realize that I cannot be all the things. And what are the supports that I have in place when I'm not feeling well, especially as a single woman living alone? When I have certain things to do, I make friends with contractors so I can get stuff fixed on the low.
She flirts with contractors.
Listen. Okay, I never pay full price at the mechanic or the dealership ever. And I just try to make my life as easy as possible, because we have an addiction to suffering and hard work and think that that is what's going to validate us. And that is not true. Because we've been doing that forever and it hasn't changed nothing.
My motto used to be nobody works harder than Constance Carter. It ain't that no more. I ain't trying to work hard in that way, right? Where I'm trying to do all this stuff. My motto is nobody works smarter. However, when you talk about letting things fail, that's just not an option for me. I mean, I have too many people depending on me. And it was like that when I was managing my business, right? I got 100 agents depending on me. I have, you know, my clients, and I have my family, and it was just like, I got to, you know, it's just, it wasn't an option. And I didn't look at it like it was stressing me out. I actually enjoyed the challenge of it when there was a challenge of it. But now I'm just not interested at all in that aspect. But for you, Dr. Alicia, because I know that you got the tools. What are the tools, you know, to manage that stress? Tell us.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing, if you have issues with sleep and you feel a whole lot of stress, and you are thinking about your life and you're wondering, why am I not living my purpose? I think that you probably need to go to therapy about it, because underneath all of that is probably some history of past painful memories that haven't been fully processed. Because all of us have stressors. Every month, the bills are due every month.
Every
For some
month.
people, they trigger something in them, right? So you have to look at these triggers. Why is the mortgage every month stressing you out? Even there are people who have $1 million in the bank and they still stressed about money. So what is your connection, your relationship with money that's continuing to stress you out? I mean, you have children that get to go up and go to college and do all these things. Why does it stress some people and it doesn't stress other people? What is it about this situation that's reminiscent of something that's stressful with you? And so the thing is that when you're in a tense and when you feel stressed, your body is tense and it tenses up and it stores all of that stress there. And so it has an impact on you and your health. Even living your purpose. Okay, suppose all of us know what we want in our life, how to live with intentionality. But if you get triggered, you're gonna fall off of that bandwagon. If you get triggered, you're gonna get angry and mad, and you're gonna step outside of who and what you think that you are. You're gonna be deflected into another direction, and then you look up and say, I'm not living with my purpose. Well, you know what your purpose was, but you let unresolved trauma set you in a different course. And you need to set a course based on healing, not based on all of these terrible things that probably happened to you that you need to process.
I love what who was that? Q62E34 said, demand people do more to help themselves. Don't come to me with problems, come to me with solutions that you want vetted. Tell others to think and do for themselves, delegate tasks. And I think that's extremely important. You know what, my ex-husband, he had some bars too. He used to be like, look, don't ask questions if you don't want to help. And so when people would come to me with their issues, I'd be like, okay. I wouldn't ask no questions because I don't want to have that extra added pressure on me to try to solve somebody else's problems. So I'm really good about not asking people what their issues are. But I think a lot of times we want to save people. And so then we take on other people's trauma and other people's drama. But I want to let you guys know that you're listening to Fly Nubian Money. So make sure you subscribe to the Fly Nubian Queen on YouTube and everywhere that we are. Also, I want to make sure that you text the words Queens, Queens, to 87948 to get notifications when we go live. That's Queens to 87948. Also, y'all, you can listen to us on Spotify every Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Just search for the Fly Nubian Money, okay? And then if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, go to the Fly Nubian Money go to flynubianmoney.com for free financial resources and courses. Okay. All right. Now I got one more question for you, Dr. Alicia. So when I stress and it's uncontrollable, I get these disgusting hives right around my face, right here. And I got to go into hiding for like a week or two. And I can't, and I know when it's coming, like the last time it happened to me was back in April. I was, in contract to buy this house and I was stressing. I was trying to get my money from my IUL and all this stuff. And I was in a rush. And so it stressed me out and I felt it coming on and it's painful and I can't eat. And it's disgusting. They're white heads. And I'll be like, uh-oh. And then I'll pray. I'll meditate. I'll do everything to stop it. And then it gets worse before it gets better. And it's those cortisol levels that increase when I'm stressed and I cannot help it. And I know when it's coming on, but I can't stop it.
What is it about this contract that stresses you out? Contract should be.
No. It was my personal property. I needed to get the money. It was a very tricky sale. So I had to get everything. But this happens when I'm stressed out about whatever. So it just happened. This happened a couple months ago because it was for me. Right. So I was trying to, I didn't want to lose this house. I've been waiting on this house for like 2 years. And then, but it's happened with other situations, even like in my divorce or things like that were happening to me, when I went to court. And I knew something was getting ready to happen. I was like, no. Lord Jesus, let me ground. Let me pray. Nothing. And I knew it was coming and I could not stop it.
There were some feelings attached to that you probably needed to work through. And don't think that this is the normal. Don't think that, okay, I know I must be stressed out because I got these aches and pains going on
it
in
goes
my
right
body.
here. First it goes here and then
Yeah.
it goes here.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that way.
I don't want to
You can go through, it seems like you're able to do it for other people, but when it has you, when it's a lot, have something to do with what's at stake for you, that really brings up something. And that just signals to you that, number one, there's something about that that's connected to something else. Okay. So there is a connection. So I don't know what that is, but think about what is the connection. If you write down all the things that gives you hives, I'm certain you can probably draw a straight line from those instances to something else that's reminiscent of that. And you can live your life where, oh, it's a contract of a house. I've been working on it for 2 years. Everything is going to be great. You can experience it with no hives, no stress. It is possible to do that. It is possible. So this is not the norm for you. Just know that.
Yeah, it's just like when this stress comes on, that there's nothing I can do. And I'd be like, oh Lord, I know I think. And sometimes I don't even know that I'm stressed, but then I'd be thinking, uh-oh, what's going on with me? Because sometimes you can stress and not even know that you're stressed, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have a friend who, she's like, oh, I must be stressed out because my plants are dying. When she's busy and can't attend to her plants and water her plants the way she wants to, that signals to her that, okay, there's something going on right now I'm not cognizant of. So that self-awareness, that meditation always helps, by the way. It helps instantly. So yeah. You have to think about it or connect with it, or a professional can help you sort through all of that too.
Well, you are the professional, and I want to ask you, because we're gonna have a quick therapy session for the ladies, the queens today.
Oh.
So let me ask you, Athena, like, what are some triggers for you for stress? And we're gonna have Dr. Alicia kind of help us walk us through this. So when you're stressed, what are some triggers for you to show you that you're stressed? How does it show up for you?
When I am stressed, it's harder for me to sleep. Like, I'll still get the 8 hours, but the countdown to the sleep might be a little bit difficult. When I'm stressed, I'm usually good on a day-to-day because I curate my life, so nothing really stresses me out. But when a lot of things are happening at the same time, that will trigger me. And then it's almost like a flight response, almost like, I can't do all of this. Like, it's too much. Like, let me just go into bed and just chill for a second. Like, I get like, I just throw my hands up in the air. I was like, I'll deal with it tomorrow. Let the moment pass. I used to get hives before too, Constance.
Where?
I used to get it on my arms here.
When you stressed?
Yeah, that mostly happened. I was dating a guy once, and that happened. Obviously, I broke up with him, and I've gotten hives with it's mostly like relationship stuff. I think with like parents and stuff too. Like I'll just break out in hives or whatever, and but they always went away, and it was always like every few years or so. It wasn't anything that was like constantly reoccurring. With stress, I know I can't handle stress like on a day-to-day. So I know I have to like carefully manage like the peacefulness in my life, and I set very strict boundaries with myself, my friends, and my family.
No, hold on. So I'd like for Dr. Alicia to kind of talk to you, to speak to.
That's so interesting because you set really good boundaries for yourself, but then there are moments where you feel overwhelmed and everything's coming on at once. So I'm like interested in where's the disconnect there in setting boundaries when you feel overwhelmed.
I need to set boundaries myself. I'm so ambitious. Like I'm working on like 5-6 projects. So when all those things collide, I have to remind myself I'm only one person and that things take time. Like I'm a fire sign, so I'm like, go, 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 go. And I have had to learn to step back and to release. And also, because you were talking earlier, Constance, how you spent all this time building your business. What I've learned too is I had to build my systems of support. Right.
Yeah. So you don't get stressed anymore, or do you? Does it still happen?
On a day-to-day, I'm not stressed. On a day-to-day. Actually, the only time I'll get stressful, and maybe we can have a therapy session about it because yesterday was, and I had to call my friend and talk about it. Like, there are moments I'm not currently seeing anybody or dating anybody, but there's moments when I think about relationships and I just feel like, not the actual relationship, just the dating process to the relationship. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do it. It stresses me out. It stresses me out. That's stressful.
Just thinking about dating stress you out. That's
the thing about it. Yeah.
These men got her stressed the hell out.
People always say, oh, why? Because men come to you all the time, but they're so full of shit. So it's like, I still have to like,
oh, they are. Okay,
and that's your fact. And that's a fact. Dr. Alicia, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, that's your belief about men. They're so full of it.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering where that comes from. You have to try to acknowledge like where that comes from, because consciously not all men are full of it. Right?
Yeah.
You know that, but
the funny thing is, Dr. Alicia, my relationships, my actual long-term relationships were great. Dating is like I don't know what this is. Like, I don't know what it is. So it's a dating process that
We're gonna talk about dating. Look, hold on. We got because I want to get to the comments too, y'all.
Okay, get to the comments.
We're gonna have to talk offline. We're gonna have to do a whole therapy session for Athena, because she got some issues. but really quick, Dennis asked me, does antihistamine help? I actually went to the doctor. I went to the emergency room last time, and I got some prednisone and some antibacterial stuff too. And I don't think anything worked. I think it was just time that actually ended up healing it, because it ended up lasting the same amount of time. But for you, Moya, what for you do you think what are some triggers for you? And let's let Dr. Alicia speak to it. You're muted.
First, I want to ask, what's the difference between, because in the video she mentioned acute and chronic. What's the difference between those two?
Well, acute is like something really quick. Like you get into a car accident, that's acute. Chronic stress is just like that relationship that's bothering you, and it's ongoing and it's long term. So that's my understanding of acute and chronic stress.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that really, like, it's so interesting that Constance talked about, and then Athena reaffirmed it, is this whole hives. Like, I thought I was the only one that got them. And so where you get them? I get them on my hands. Like, it fills with bumps. Like, and it's so gross. Like, I don't even like doing interactions. Like, you know how you have to take money and give cards. And I used to not get my nails done at that time. Like, I just did not like it at all. And so I did what you said, Dr. Athena, in terms of when you were saying, write out everything that when you get them. And so when I wrote it out, interestingly enough, it was because I would get large sums of money, like, because it's a business. So I would get large sums of money. And because when I was a kid, my mom used to take my money because she was a drug addict. And so she would take it. And so I feel like now, like, oh my God, I have to hold on to it. So I imagine myself like holding on to this
on
money
your hands.
so tight. And that's why they start
out,
because I'm like, she's going to take it. Obviously, I'm a grown, we don't live, like, she's not going to take my money. But so when you said you have to go through the process, and when she said, do the hard work of like, why is this happening? It is so, so true that you have to go in and see what are the connections here. And then so what I've done is I'll meditate, or I'll journal. Like, when a deposit comes in, I'll start journaling. I'll start doing affirmations. I'll start all to counteract this whole feeling of like, oh my God, something is going to happen to me again.
Wow. And you had no control over it. I mean, did your mom just steal your money from you?
Yeah, she would
telling you.
Like, yeah.
So
I've always worked.
That's betrayal. That's deception. It's those. How did you feel about that? Probably angry. And I think a lot of it is that as women, we're just told, we're labeled. Here you are, this strong this angry Black woman. Well, you know what? The most compassionate thing you can do for yourself is to allow yourself to feel healthy anger. You're supposed to be mad at your mother. The anger that you feel towards your mother for taking something that did not belong to her. That's the anger. And you have to like really feel all of those emotions behind that, which is probably anger and hurt and pain. And, just here's this person, she's your mom. She half of you.
Right.
Half of you is her, and all of that. It needs to be something that you connect with for sure.
Wow, that's good.
Thank you.
I want to go to the chat really quick. Somebody said, I want to go to, let me scroll up because she said, face to face said, I'm a 47-year-old mother of 5 and I just started asking for help. And that's one of the things that we don't do. That's at 114. That's one of the things we don't do is we don't always ask for help. And that's huge, right? That's going to alleviate a lot of the stress. Felicia Jackson at 114 said, that is so true. My immune system has taken more hits than you can imagine, hospitalization and all. Wow. She said she didn't know she was stressed because she always just handled it. And that's what most of us do, right? We just handle it. We just do it. We're like Nike. We just do it. Pretty Brown Mimi 726 at 125 or 115 said, I'm still working on managing my stress, but I think going to bed at the same time is a good start. Consistency. Let me see. Natasha, she said, we're always expected to be strong, but even the strong breaks down. Who's there for the strong people? Mm-hmm. And that's why they always say, check in on your strong friends, and because you just don't know, you're just thinking that person. And you know what? Let me tell you something. At one time, like I never cried. I was like, I'm a thug, tattoo tears, homie. I don't do that. I don't cry. Right. And then like I started speaking and I was like, oh, I want to be able to absorb some emotion when I want to go out there and, I would talk about my trauma and I would just laugh it off. I wouldn't laugh, but I would just, it's kind of nervous energy, right? I would just talk about things that I had been through. And I just didn't want to be vulnerable because I felt like vulnerability made me weak. I never wanted anyone to see me in a vulnerable state. I needed to be that pillar of strength. And so then when I went through a divorce, when I started going through, because I've been, you go through your ebbs and flows and it's like, oh, bankruptcy was the hardest time. That was money. Like that's not hard. Things are hard things. So you start going through some things in your life that bring that out. And I think that actually made me actually stronger, being vulnerable, being able to cry, being able to let it out. But I think me trying to be the strong one was actually causing more stress. What do you say, Dr. Alicia?
Yeah, I mean, I do recommend meditation. I cannot emphasize that enough. Really keeping as much as you can in your life, setting your day up where meditation comes first. This is science. This is not just some woo-woo stuff that I'm talking about. Meditation actually instantly calms you down and helps you to kind of get rid of that cortisol in your body that is a killer in your body. Just this being in a meditative state, it will help you not be so reactive to the things around you.
But what about those people who are like ADD? They're like, I have ADD, I can't concentrate. Are there steps? Because I meditate. Are there steps to starting meditation? Because people be like, I can't sit here and sit still for 30 minutes.
Especially if you feel that you have some attention issues. Definitely get into a meditative place, because if you practice this.
But how do you do it if you got ADD? Like, how does one sit still?
It's hard to do. It is really difficult to do. I challenge all of you all to sit for 5 minutes and think about nothing. I bet you couldn't do it for 30 seconds. So you have to build a muscle to be able to meditate. And y'all, I don't know if y'all do this, but I love listening to the life story of people who are very successful, the greats. All of the celebrities. I like celebrities because they do things I can't do, but I like to listen to successful people and to hear about what they're doing that no one else is doing. And a common thread is they are able to get into a meditative state. Meditation, mindful practices, all of those qualities are in all successful people. They talk about this. Will Smith talks about it. Everybody talks about being in this state.
So do you suggest people start off in 5 minutes? Do you suggest they do guided meditation? So what is your suggestion for a beginner?
I mean, it don't even have to be guided meditation. It could just be sitting and thinking about nothing, practicing that in yourself. Mm-hmm. How to deep breathing. I mean, deep breathing in and of itself will help release all of that cortisol.
You're right about that.
Deep breathing, and practice that. And as things come up, you can step back and almost see it from an outside person looking in, right? So almost where you're not reacting. Some things come from the gut up through the mouth. No, you want to be more mindful in how you address things, address situations, problems that you're going to have. All of us have stressors, but you do not have to live with stress.
Yeah, I
That's
love that.
optional. Stressors, feeling pain is something that all of us have agreed we're going to do when we were born. But suffering from our pain, that's optional.
Mm. You know, challenges come, right? But how
Always.
we handle them
Mhm.
is the option, right? That's the thing. You know, I coach Black women. I have something called the Net Seven. But one of the things that, because we talk about wealth and building wealth, but wealth is not just about money. It's a holistic experience. So I actually share with them on how to prime their minds, because that is extremely important, because I studied successful people too. And these are practices that I do every day. I do what's called the RAMP method, RAMP. I rise an hour early. I rise really, really early. I do my affirmations. I meditate and I pray. And when I pray, it's not like me petitioning God, God, I need this, God, I need that. It's prayer of gratitude. It's a prayer of thankfulness, because I already know you're going to bless me. But God, thank you for what I already got. You already know what's in my heart. I don't got to ask you for nothing. But God, thank you for what you've already done for me. And I'm telling you, the day it transforms your whole day if you can get it. And then exercise as well, right? So ramp, rise early, affirmations, meditate, pray, and then get your ass in the gym or walk around the block or something every day. But that helps you, because it's a whole mind, because we can get you the money, but can you keep the money?
If you did that every day, you should never experience stress ever in your life.
Yeah.
You should never get
Let me
hives.
tell you something. And you're right about that.
To the hives.
Listen, you're right about that, because listen, let me tell you this. This is a book I wrote, right, a few years ago. And it's called The Secret to Breaking the Broke Code. This book changed my life. This is a book I wrote. Let me tell you something that happened real quick, and then I'm gonna go to the things. I was in therapy when I was going through. I wrote this in 2018, I think. I was in therapy when I was going through my divorce, right? And so the therapist was like, I read your book. And I was like, okay, that's what's up. She was like, she said, I Googled you. And I was like, okay. I didn't tell her I had a book. And she said, I read your book. And I said, okay. And I said, so what'd you think? She said, I think, why are you here? I'm like, what? She goes, you have all the answers in your book. And I'm like, she said, so your assignment is to read your book tonight. And I was like, okay. Right. And I read the book, and y'all, it changed my life. I got bars in here, but let me tell you, sometimes the thing that you know to be true that's already on the inside of you need those reminders, right? Because sometimes we forget. We know that we have everything equipped inside of us, and sometimes we just don't even know how to reach them, because maybe we might be preoccupied with some things, or we might have just forgot, or we might be busy. But going back to the things that you know to be true. So I'm so glad you said that, Dr. Alicia. Like, I shouldn't have the hives, because I got the tools inside of me to be able to manage them. And sometimes I don't. And then that's what happens. But for the most part, and this is the reason why I can say that the success has happened is because of those practices. You got to get in these habits to do these things. And that is what it really, really, really helps your success. I'm telling y'all. So anyway, I want to share with you guys the video again that we looked at in the beginning, because I think it's extremely important that we really understand the silent killer, especially for us, Black people, Black women. Let's roll.
So this question leads to Lisa. Lisa, what are the lifestyle changes that need to be addressed to prevent and combat chronic disease?
Yes, thank you so much for asking the question. This is really important, because I think when most of us are trying to get healthy, we do the two things we know, which is diet and exercise, right? And those are the low-hanging fruits, and you absolutely should, right? So let's knock those out of the way. A whole food, plant-based diet, no doubt about it, will excel your ability to combat chronic lifestyle disease or prevent them. We should be doing high-intensity interval training. I too, Brandy, started as a personal trainer, right? So it's so important. Movement is so important. Let's not underestimate the movement. However, health does not begin and end in the kitchen and the gym. It is essential that we do 3 additional things. I'm gonna be on my 3s tonight. So y'all ready for the first 3? Okay, so my note takers, tap your neighbor. So the first one is sleep hygiene. We have to get high quality sleep. It's not just getting to sleep, but it's staying to sleep. Okay, front row behavior. It's not just staying asleep, but it's making sure you are sleeping well, going into all those stages of sleep. A lot of magic happens metabolically when we sleep. The second thing that we absolutely must prioritize, lean in, Black women, we have to eliminate chronic stress. I did not say manage it. I said eliminate it. Okay? Self-care, vacations, meditation, journaling, that's all management. We have to do the harder work of creating an exit strategy. Okay? Acute stress, normal. Life is going to life. Chronic stress kills us slowly. It's not an option. So we have to eliminate chronic stress because those elevated levels of cortisol and adrenaline are going to compromise the body. The final thing that we absolutely must focus on when it comes to health outside of diet and exercise is purpose. In Japan, it's called ikigai. It means a reason for being. If you are not optimizing your gifts and your talents and having fulfillment in your life and leaving the world a better place than what you found it, that too will kill you slowly. Purpose heals. So find the thing that God has called you to do and lean into it.
So this question.
Oh, really quick, I want to talk about, somebody said, Amanda said, most people don't realize that yoga is a state of meditation.
Mhm.
Even though I practice the harsh arts of Kung Fu, I enjoy winding down with yoga and Hunkin stretching methods. I'm up at 4 a.m. So she's up doing her ramp. She's up, meditating and getting herself in that state. But one thing about Black folks, because we talking about Black people here, right? We talking to Black people. We talking about Black people. Sometimes religious Black folks, they do not believe in meditation. They believe, it's of the devil. Oh, that's what the Buddhists do. That's not what Christians do. And so what do you say to those religiosity people that say that what we're doing is not of God? Anybody could take that one.
Well, I mean, I don't want to fight people on it, but yoga and meditation was invented by us. It's our science. It's our medicine. So I don't know why they have to be opposed to each other. And I think that, what would be the religious equivalent to meditation and yoga? I mean, even just not necessarily challenging people's beliefs, but you mentioned prayer. Not everybody actually prays to a God necessarily, so maybe that sort of prayer, as long as they have some time where they can devote to themselves and what they're thinking, and even setting intentions may not be something that's attractive to someone who's religious. Maybe, they get their uplift in life and joy in life from prayer. So, I mean, it's not to contrast and to make people feel uncomfortable about their religious beliefs.
Yeah.
And what I will say too is this, and I know Dr. Alicia, you just came back from Egypt. I went to Egypt in 2019 with the Quasis, and you can see in the pyramid texts on those walls, those Kemetic yoga poses, especially by the Kemetic gods like Nut and things like that, that predates Christ. So, so it is not of the devil. And I also think that sometimes we let church get into way of things that are needed. The church can't solve every single problem, because if it could, it would have already.
Ooh.
So sometimes we have to explore other options that might be beneficial to us.
Get into it, girlfriend. Yes. What do you think, Moya?
Yeah, I think it's really important to put them all together, so that way we have a really strong understanding of how you can mix your religion with these spirituality.
One thing I think is really important that I do is that breathing that you talked about, Dr. Alicia. Oh my God, it does wonders. So what I do is I breathe in for 10 seconds. Like I just breathe in, and then I'll hold it 10 seconds. And then you release it very slowly. And it does something to prime your mind and get you really focused. And if you can just practice these breathing exercises, even before you meditate, or if you can't meditate, even just do the breathing part, I think it works wonders. What do you think, Dr. Alicia?
Yeah, box breathing has been great to calm you down. And this is how you live your life of purpose. Being able to breathe, being able to be mindful about what you're saying, what you're doing, who you're doing with, making wise choices in life. All of us want to make good choices.
Yeah.
We have decisions that we need to make. Why do they say, why don't you sleep on it first before you make this decision? There's something about having your mind sort things out. The wisdom is all within you. Can you believe it? We're talking about stress here today. We're talking about all these people that are stressing you out. Your kids are stressing, your job. And the answer is box breathing. Like,
Right. It's
that's
so simple.
ridiculous, but it's not. It is, the answers are in you.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to take a look at the slides really quick. I'm sorry, I'm frozen, but let's take a look at the slides, and I'm gonna go ahead and once you guys, one of you guys take over, and I'm gonna drop off and drop back on. Let's look at the slides.
All right. So according to the CDC, 1 in 3 adults do not get enough sleep, which can lead to a higher risk of chronic conditions like obesity, heart disease, and diabetes. So quality sleep is important. Chronic stress, according to the APA, reports that chronic stress can lead to serious health issues such as anxiety, depression, heart disease, and even a weakened immune system. You know what I find very interesting about this, right? And I feel like everything is just pointing to us living a good life, like a simpler life, things that I think before all the technology and the busyness of like life got into way, we naturally got, like we naturally would get a certain amount of like sunlight or walk outside or sleep. And nowadays our society is structured that we have to be intentional and active in seeking out these things that we used to just have in our daily routine. Dr. Alicia, what are your opinions about how our societal structure is as far as not being helpful for us to maintain our stress?
Yeah, our society is extremely toxic. I mean, think about it. They tell you every day that you are not good enough, so you have to go and get a BBL. You are not good enough, so you have to go and get Botox. You yourself are not good enough, so you have to go and buy these clothes. You have to drive a certain type of car, or live in a certain type of house. We have an entire economy based on us feeling ashamed about who and what we really are. We feel that we have to somehow, what we are is not good enough, so we have to be different. For men, you're only valuable based on how much money is in your checking account. The type of woman that you date, she has to look a certain way and be a certain way. We have all of these external valid things that validate us, supposedly, that we're only valuable when we have valuable items and things. And I think we need to remove away from that and really see that, no, you're beautiful and valuable who and what you are, uniquely you. You can get a man, just be authentically yourself, and you will find a man who can handle all of that instead of being something that you're not. And just being attentive and listening and validating other people. If you have those qualities, there are people that will be attracted to you, and you go out on a date, Athena, that man will be falling all in love with you because you're listening to him and you're valuing him. And that supersedes any external appearance.
I love that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because one of the things that she said, which I think was so poignant, and Moya pointed it out in the beginning, was purposeful. What did she call it? Ikbe? What was it? Ikbai, whatever they say in Japanese, and it's about purpose. And so for each of you, because I know the purpose is the great equalizer when it comes to not being stressed out. Before we go there, the purpose question, let's look at these slides. Research has shown that people who feel aligned with their life purpose are 2.4 times less likely to develop Alzheimer's disease and have a lower risk of cardiovascular issues. Yo, you see how important purpose and less stress is. So for you, Athena, do you feel like you are living your life in purpose, on purpose, walking in your purpose? How do you feel about that?
I do feel like more than ever, I've been living more intentionally and aligned with my purpose and growing. I've always, felt like a calling to help people, to help women, understanding that the key to a lot of our happiness is understanding wealth, wisdom, and womanhood, and what that really looks like, especially in today's landscape. So for me, waking up and doing the things that I love definitely motivates and propels me, and definitely diminishes the stress, because I do think back to parts of my career, especially the earlier part of my career. I was working 60, 80 hours a week for like one of the most prestigious firms. But I'm glad I got that job out of school, first job out of school, because it taught me a valuable lesson early on in my young adult career, which means that I learned to look past the prestige and the shininess and the clout of things, and to focus more on what was important, which was how I felt about my life, my choices, and what I do on a day to day. And I think that's the problem with society. We're so focused, and it's so engineered to focus on impressing or having a life that is um, impressive to other people, while we might be quietly suffering with that life.
Do you know the suicide rates for people who are trying to be impressive with their jobs and their careers, and they're not happy, and the stress of it all? People are out here dying over jobs, y'all. And you can imagine for you all, can you remove that banner? The Fly Nubian Money banner, so that we can see the slide. But imagine for those of us who are living in their purpose, people who are just working to live, and they're living to work with no purpose, and how, how stressful their lives are. A study published in the Lancet found that lack of sleep, high stress, and living without purpose can collectively increase, y'all, the risk of early death. Not just stress, because we hear that all the time, right? But purpose. That's crazy. And this is looking at that, and I seen that not too long ago. Looking at that video, though, that's the first time that I really heard how important purpose is for our lives. That it increases your longevity, it decreases your stress. It heals you from diseases. I mean, you walking in your purpose, that means what? You're happier, that means you're more joyful, that means you're more optimistic, that means you're operating in high vibrational energy, right? That's what walking in your purpose and living in your purpose is. For you, Moya, do you feel like you are in alignment with your purpose?
Yeah, I think one of the things that causes so much stress, and even you talked about it, Constance, in terms of even when you were really building your business, one of the things that really helped you was you also enjoyed the process. I feel many times we're in the process of living our purpose, we're thinking that that means life is comfortable and I'm supposed to be like, this is supposed to just breeze along. But in reality, you are very much so moving, you're very much so active, but you just feel good about it. And I feel like that stress comes from when we have our purpose is here or our goals is here, but currently we're right here. And then there's that gap. So when you're in between that gap, it's like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? How do I get out of here? How do I go? But if we kind of calmed and just went through the process and using the tools that we discussed today, I feel like getting from here to closing that gap to our next goal would really allow us to enjoy the purpose more, to enjoy that process of evolution and an alignment a lot smoother.
I love this conversation so much because I think it's not talked about enough in our community. So because just in America in general, I think 85% of people who go to college don't work in the jobs and the careers that they went to college for. I think 90% of people who were surveyed are not living in alignment with their purpose. And so it's unfortunate that we're not, but it doesn't mean that we can't. Dr. Alicia, and I know you're living in your purpose, as you know, all the people that you're changing lives and you're helping. What can people do who aren't in their purpose, who feel like they're in a dead end job or feel like they have no hope? What can they do to get in alignment with their purpose?
I think all of us, we know, a lot of us know what our purpose is. The problem is that we're just too afraid to pursue it.
Come on.
And I think that you know what you want, you know what you don't want. And I think it's just never too late to start that path. It's never too late to say, you know what, I'm going to go a different direction. And when you set that intention, sometimes you don't have to work so hard for it. There have been many times that I have like, oh, I've set an intention and I'll meditate on it, and I'll wake up the next morning and it comes to me and it falls right in my lap.
That
Like, you don't need to work
no,
so
but
hard
people
for
think
it.
it's woo woo. They think it's woo woo, and the people who think it's woo woo are the people who are not in alignment with the purpose. Because the people who know that it works are the ones who are actually doing it, and it's working.
Yeah, trust and believe. I mean, you're living, okay, your purpose in life is God given. So you'll never, no one and no one thing can take it away from you. If that man is for you, ain't no woman gonna come by and take that man from you. Okay, take him from me if you can, because that means he wasn't for me to begin with.
That's easy
So,
to say.
I mean, there it
The
is.
heart
Do
wants
not
what the
stress.
heart wants. The heart wants what the heart
I
wants.
know, but don't be worried about who in your man's DMs. You know, there's a lot of DMing going on. But that's the thing. Like, it's not for you. It's not for you to even stress over. What is it? You're scared to be abandoned by somebody that don't want you no way? Like,
Or you can stay there and get beat up on, mentally by staying in that situation, right?
yeah, like why? And
You
don't beat
stress the hell
yourself
out.
up. Just
Yeah.
because you get a divorce doesn't mean that you're not worthy of love. It just
Let me
means
tell you
that that
something,
wasn't the
Mom.
right person for you.
Let me tell you, I'm outside. No, I'm just kidding. So Dennis Spraggan said, I'm consciously still searching to find my purpose. So some people really don't know what their purpose is, Dr. Alicia. How do they find
Yes,
it?
he does. He knows exactly what it is. I'm almost certain, but he's not letting himself really dive into it because he is afraid of certain things. And if you really honestly don't know, put on different hats, expose yourself to something, get out the house, go somewhere, play tennis, go jogging, do some things that exposes you to other things. But I think adults deep down inside know exactly what they want to do.
I'm so glad Kimberly said that. She said, I was just pondering on this yesterday, and God clearly said to me, everything I need is already in me. I know what it is.
Yeah.
And I think that when you go to the tools that you talked about in terms of meditating, in terms of setting intention, in terms of asking God, what is my purpose? Because you pondering is, kind of thought about it. Well, what's my purpose? And it ain't dropped in your spirit. No, you got to be intentional about you requesting and you seeking that thing. And then God will reveal it to you if you don't know, Dennis. I promise you he will. We got to get out of here, y'all. But before we do, I want to remind you that you're listening to and you are watching Fly Nubian Money on Fly Nubian Queen. I want you to make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And y'all, if you want to get alerts every time we go live, because we have lit conversations 5 days a week, make sure you text the word Queens to 87948. And if you want to listen to us and you don't want to see our beautiful faces, you can listen to us on Spotify Monday through Friday every day at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time by searching for Fly Nubian Money. And then if you want to grow your money for free financial resources and courses, go to Fly Nubian, not the Fly Nubian, go to flynubianmoney.com. Now, I want to get your last thoughts. Okay. So I'm going to start with you, Athena. What are your last thoughts and where can they find you?
Ladies, we deserve rest. We deserve peace. We deserve relaxation. Okay. Say no to struggle. Struggle and hard work is not our ministry. We deserve to live a life of peace and purpose. My name is Athena Gardner. I'm a CPA and a women's wealth coach. If you want to find me, you can find me at wewealthwoman.com. There I have courses such as New Year, New Wealth, and the Goddess Guide to Money to help you ladies eliminate some of that stress, honey, and to help you create your best wealthy goddess life. You can also find me at We Wealth Woman on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and listen to me on my podcast, the We Wealth Woman podcast, on Apple, iHeart, and Spotify.
Let's go, Athena. All right, Miss Moya, Queen Moya. Let's talk about it.
So one of the things that really stood out is just purpose and is healing, and really understanding that, as Dr. Alicia said, we definitely know our purpose, and knowing that even if we are on our way there, we are still at least in motion and aligning with it. So my name is Moya Smith. You can find me on Instagram at moya.business.
I love it, Moya. Thank you. And listen, Dr. Alicia has been therapizing us all hour long, and I love it. So that's why I made you last, because I know you about to drop some game on us, girlfriend. Let's go.
Man, I think that if anything, if you've learned today, is that the healing power of God is in you. You do not need to look outside of yourself to find your own purpose. I think that you can get in contact and get in connection with who and what you are, so that you never experience stress again. If you have struggles dealing with stress in your life, you can contact me at coachingwithdralicia.com. I work with couples and individuals, and you can find me on Instagram at Coaching with Dr. Alicia.
Listen, I might be contacting Coaching with Dr. Alicia in a minute, y'all. Don't be playing. I'm so grateful for this conversation. And I see so many of you in the chat that said that you're grateful for the conversation. And it's a conversation that I believe that we will have again, because I think that there's so much to unpack here. And we really need to get to that place of healing. And I think with, a beautiful therapist like Dr. Alicia, we can really try to figure out how we can really get to that place where we're walking in alignment with our purpose, where we're doing everything that we need to do, where we're minimizing that cortisol and those stress levels. Like, that is so important to the longevity of our lives. We are beautiful. We're strong Black women. We're all the things, but we don't have to be strong all the time. And so asking for help is important. Not, saying no. Guess what, y'all? No is a complete sentence. I don't know if y'all know, but no is a complete sentence. You don't got to say anything else. No. And, I had to get therapy on that one time from the first lady of my church, because I'd be like, but I need to, no is a complete sentence. Somebody calling you, ask you for money, but I have it, but I just don't have, no is a complete sentence. Just because you got it don't mean you got to give it. So stop trying to be everything to everybody, and sometimes just say no. But where can you find me? Everywhere I am Constance Carter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. I am Conversations with Constance on Spotify and all podcasts, on all different podcasts, on Apple Podcasts and everywhere else. And also, listen, I am starting the Net 7 Collective next week. I have room for one more person. So this is where I'm teaching Black women to increase their net worth by $1 million. And I'm telling you guys, wealth is not just about how much money you can make, because I can show you how to get the money. Can you keep the money? And then can you be happy? Doing that internal work is so very important. And I'm glad that we're having these discussions, because a lot of growth is stunted when we don't look internally. And so we have to make sure that we're continuing to look internally first before we can really live in our purpose. And so thank you guys for joining us today. I love all the comments. Yo, The Only Way, thank you so much for all the compliments you've given me all through this broadcast. The Only Way is in love with me, y'all. So I just want to let y'all know he on my YouTube and he in love with me. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in with me. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same bat channel.